Welcome back to Memory Lane. My name is Craig Collins. I'm here alongside Ben Bousman. This is episode 7, where Ben and I go back and look at games. What was that hand motion?
It was sign language for 7.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like flipping me off or
No.
This is episode 7 where Ben and I go back and look at key dates throughout the year and kind of go back through the memory books, go back through the record books and see, recap great games that happened. And today we're going to go back in time to the 2008 season for the Ball State Cardinals. We really wanted to find the Ball State Navy game, but we couldn't find that. This is probably the second biggest win. Or one of the bigger wins on the schedule for Ball State, where they go on the road and beat IU. Ben, you and I were talking about how that was the first time they had not only beaten IU, but beaten a Power 5 team. Yeah. And so this was, and also started off 3 straight wins for Ball State over IU. IU, walks around like they're, like their big brother all the time. But Ball State did for a number of years there have their number.
Well, and I think 2 years prior, Ball State only lost by touchdown or less.
Yeah,
so
I was at that game. It was Joey Lynch was the quarterback. Ball State was actually up, I think, like 23-7, and ended up losing 24-23.
Yeah.
So, so Ball State was kind of on the same, same level there. So let's hop right into it. We're going to what's going to play first. Is the actual injury to Dante Love, which that kind of hampered the Ball State offense.
Would have been a future NFL.
Future NFL player. Basically, the Ball State was up 14-6. Dante Love gets hit, suffers a neck injury, actually ends his football career. The fumble, it forces a fumble. It gets returned for a touchdown. It's 14-13. So this is following that. So let's go ahead and hop right into it here.
One more look at it.
I mean, how many times do you see that hit, like on a day-to-day basis? And unfortunately, into Dante Love's career, it's interesting to think about what this season. I mean, Ball State already having a fantastic season, had a fantastic year.
Didn't they get up to like 12? What was
they're 12-0.
Yeah,
they
ranking.
They were in the top 15. I know,
like 12th.
12th was around where they were, and of course they lose to Buffalo in the MAC championship game, and then lose to Tulsa. Or was that the year they lost to Tulsa? I think it was. They lost to Tulsa in the GMAC Bowl, which is now like the GoDaddy.com Bowl.
Yeah, was it Tulsa? What they played? Was it Rutgers?
Rutgers when they had Ray Rice.
Yeah.
Doing this, every precaution being taken, obviously. So Dante move his head there.
I mean, this had not just Dante Love, but Nate Davis, who got drafted by the 49ers. And then didn't he play in the Canadian Football League?
Yeah, played in Arena for a little bit too. So. So yeah, he was a guy who would have, I don't know, would he have been a 10 to 15 year player in the NFL? Who knows, but definitely had the talent to go. And
I know he had some trouble with, I think he had a learning disability.
I don't know. Nate Davis did, yeah.
Yeah, Nate Davis.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I switched over back to Dante Love.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Put Dante Love into the ambulance, assuming they're taking him to Bloomington Hospital. What I did find out from the trainer was he has numbness and tingling. Now, he doesn't have any pain in his neck, but that's all we know right now. But he's definitely out, for the rest of the game. And obviously a very, very bad blow this early on.
See, I don't even know if that hit that we saw would have been really even considered targeting. I mean, that would have been borderline, if anything. It's not, we see a lot more blatant, targeting calls.
Yeah, you'll see plenty of people get hit like that and they get up fine.
Yeah.
But,
loses about 3 yards. Back to the 17. Ryan Miranda, who played so
Mike
well.
Lewis, who's so good. I mean, Ball State quietly has had, some pretty good running backs over the years. I mean, you got Michael Lewis, you got Juwan Edwards. So
he has a chance to actually lead this team in sacks this season.
On defense they had, was it Sean Baker?
Sean Baker.
He comes up big.
Yeah. In this game, yes, and then he also, nice. What a pass.
Tumbling across the 50-yard line, the wide receiver Miles Shrimp, a sophomore out of Springfield, Ohio, 34-yard gain on what appeared to be blown coverage in the
and this,
secondary.
And again, a beautiful
this season sets up a number of good ones for Ball State. I don't know that they're riding that momentum still, but I mean, this was the heyday of Ball State football. On the podcast a few weeks ago, we talked about the college football season. I was asked what my favorite college football team was, and I don't know how about you, Ben, but favorite college football team for me at least is Ball State, only because being as big of a football fan as I am, having a team, basically in your backyard was always really cool.
And plus, they got a lot of national notoriety being ranked. I think ESPN sent several. I think we had several games that were on TV this season.
Yeah. Well, heck, we were hoping that Ball State would get game day because there was a big game, I think, at the end of the year with Northern Illinois or Central Michigan that could have been considered one.
2nd and 10.
Yeah, the real big game I remember besides this was when we had played Toledo, and Toledo was ranked.
Yeah.
And we beat them, and everybody carried the field goal post down to the duck pond, and this is when you were like 5 years old.
No, I think because you're talking about the Corey Parchman punt return, right?
It might have been.
Yeah, I was at that game. That was awesome. So I was there with my dad.
They were ranked, right?
It was the week after. They had Chester Taylor, who played for the Bears.
Yeah.
They beat him on a Corey Parchman kickoff return for a touchdown. It was right after they had just gone into Minnesota and knocked them off. And I think Minnesota at the time had Lawrence Maroney or Marion Barber. One of those two guys were at Minnesota at the time. What a catch, dude. Tempe again. Or Tremp, I think was his name.
Tempe? What?
Yeah.
What?
The home of the other Cardinals.
Hey,
the Arizona Cardinals.
See, it all ties in.
Words to describe the throw he just made. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. I mean, watch it. The feel to slide out. Watch how he makes this throw.
See, it's hard to throw off that back foot,
Off balance, on the back foot.
And Christopher Phillips,
yeah, you were talking about Nate Davis having that kind of learning disability. I think that's why things didn't really mesh well, at the NFL level, because and I'm not saying it's either their faults, it's just when he got drafted to the 49ers, that was when Mike Singletary was there. Mike Singletary, kind of an old school, hard-nosed guy. So I don't know how much he would was willing to put up with Nate Davis. Wake Forest was ranked this season, apparently. Oh, yeah, this was the season, I'm looking at the bottom ticker, that, Kansas had a great year. This was just an interesting year for, this was the year for
the non-big schools.
Yeah, the non-big schools to have big years.
I'm assuming he's got to still hold the records, right? Doesn't he hold all the passing records?
He holds a number of records still. I know Winning went through and had some good seasons.
Oh, yeah. Dang it.
Indiana already playing without Austin Thomas due to injury tonight.
Well, it's got to be those two then.
Watch this again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the way it came down, maybe on his left leg.
Just goes up and high points the ball.
And Trent made a great adjustment. Nate Davis now 190 yards passing on 10 of 15.
Goodness, talk about his arm. And this is history.
Is this also the year they had a defensive player drafted? Or I'm not sure he was drafted.
Are you talking about Jonathan Newsom? Because that's later. That's when I was in college.
I don't think it's Newsom. Man, I thought they had a couple people that were. Is Newsom defensive end?
5 plays, 80 yards. Nate Davis still has enough weapons to do battle in Bloomington. And Ball State leads it 21-13 in the second quarter. Miles Trent with catches of 34 and 45 yards. How about the quarterback, Nate Davis? Look at this throw.
Well, you talk about off his back foot, his legs were crossed, and across his body. It's as a quarterback coach, this is everything you would teach not to do.
It's like a ballet move.
Yeah.
And
like Nate
Davis was intense too, because when I was in high school at the time when this game occurred, and I job shadowed Brady Hoke, and I got to, basically just be on the field for practice, and like they're playing like the 2-minute drill, something like that in practice, and somebody messed up a play on Nate Davis. He was over there screaming. I was like, bro, it's just practice.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be
We're
fine.
talking about practice?
We're talking, not a game, not a game,
Yeah.
not a game.
Yeah.
Talking about practice.
.com/livecast right now.
No, this is my college years right here.
Yeah.
My dad and I went to some of the games they had at Schuler.
Up the middle, to Payne, first down and more. Across the 40 to the 43-yard line on a game.
I've been to the IU campus for a basketball game, but I've never seen a football game there.
And like IU's football team this year, it's not like it was one of those years that IU had a terrible team and Ball State had a solid team. This was like one of those years where like it was just like IU was kind of middle of the road because of course Bill Lynch, their head coach, used to be the head coach at Ball State. A very good head coach. Went on to coach too at DePaul. Had the team in pretty good, in pretty good position. They were a solid team. It's just the fact that Ball State just had the best team they've ever had roll through campus.
Ball State touchdown. How's he doing on the sidelines?
Yeah, guys, I just talked to
Brandon Crawford. Is that who you're thinking? Not Brandon Crawford. But Crawford. Is that who you're thinking of? Because he's the number 90 on the Ball State defense. That's what I'm maybe thinking of.
Defensive end?
Yeah. I think you're thinking of Newsom, but I think also
You're thinking of somebody, and I'm thinking of somebody.
yeah, I think we're thinking about two different people.
Picks up the first down to move the chains to the 45-yard line of Ball State.
I'm also thinking of the guy I'm thinking of was like he was in the military. Like he was an older player.
I'm fairly certain that's Newsom.
Went for over 100 yards in the first half against Murray State. His stepping out, but so far they've been using him as a complimentary back along with Brian Payton.
Big Panic co-captain.
No, actually, hold on. Oh, we gotta look it up.
Get on stat machine.
Takes it himself. Wante, he can break ankles, can he? Inside the 30, dancing to the 28-yard line.
Those running quarterbacks are always so dangerous.
That's a 17 or 18-yard run. B.J. Hill finally brought him down to the deep secondary.
Well, offensive coordinator for Indiana, Matt Kenna, is a great coordinator, but he can't teach this. I mean, the moves that he makes when he gets flushed out, you talk about it's a good thing that they're taped up down there because there are a lot of ankles down on the carpet.
Yeah, Brandon Crawford.
Payton straight ahead. Close to the 20-yard line. Gain of almost 8
I should have stuck with my instinct because that's what I thought his name was. Then I was like, no, Brandon Crawford's the shortstop for the San Francisco Giants. I was like, that's not it.
Yeah.
To stop as a dual threat quarterback.
Payton on the toss. Trying to cut it back. Oh, good play made by
Payton on the toss.
the linebacker on that play. Coming
Peyton
over
Lewis.
to make the hit was Brian
Peyton
Haynes, the senior. Out of Pequot,
Yeah.
Ohio.
He was a
Marine.
33-year-old Marine. Yep.
See him slow down.
Look at you, Ben.
Push it back to your help. Good defense is knowing where your help is.
Did he get
Ball
drafted?
State
Did
did a
it
good
say
job that time. Playing
Um,
tight in the interior.
Robert Eddins on the outside of that play. Able to force it back in.
Or I think he at least tried.
Yeah, I was like, he was at least on, like, got drafted, like, was either, like, post-draft, like, signee or something.
First down and more. Inside the 15-yard line.
I don't know who's calling this game, but doesn't it sound a little bit like Keith Jackson?
First down for Indiana.
Yeah. It's not,
On a gain
but-
of 9 yards.
How do you know it's not?
Well, Indiana.
because
found
I'm
itself in a
fairly
shootout.
certain.
They get paid money to
Keith Jackson voiced the old college football games, like, well, I mean, obviously a lot more, but like NCAA Game Breaker 2001, which was like one of my favorite games, where he had like Carson Palmer as the quarterback for the USC Trojans, and he just basically just tossed it up for all those great receivers they had. But
Sam Woodworth.
so I think I would know if it was Keith Jackson.
And it looks to be a first and goal of the one.
Talk about
Also,
things
I've
they
watched
like to
the
make
I have the
there it is.
DVD of the
And just throws
2006
full
Rose
speed
Bowl with
ahead. He's a track
Texas
guy,
and
10-3,
USC, and I've watched that a
100
few times
so you know
because
he
that
can
game was
run.
so awesome.
Lewis keeps it. Touchdown.
Good play.
Is that what Young? Right?
What's up?
Quarterback Young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenny Meeks. shot at him. But Kellen Lewis, as you've seen, pretty slippery.
And Sean, he spent some off-season in the weight room. I mean, watch this stiff arm. It's me up here.
At what
Able
point
to
this season did
break
we become
loose.
ranked?
He's an
That's what I'm wondering.
185
I'm wondering when the
pounds, I think.
first game this season was that Ball State was
Maybe not
ranked.
a stiff arm, but
Ooh,
he's
that's
able
a
to run
good
through it.
question. Let's look it up here,
Took every bit at 185 pounds.
because I honestly don't know.
Kellen
100%.
Lewis engineers the Hoosier drive.
But yeah, I do distinctly remember them playing Buffalo and how that
ended up.
Yeah.
They were ranked. They beat Western Kentucky on October 11th. And then the next week they were number 22. They beat Eastern Michigan, became number 18, beat Northern Illinois. Were number 16, beat Miami of Ohio. Number 16, beat Central Michigan. Got up to number 15. That's when they beat Western. And then they beat Buffalo. Or no, they went to Buffalo. That's the number 12.
I knew it.
And then, yeah, lost to Buffalo in the MAC championship game. Then we're number 22 against Tulsa, lost, and then weren't ranked. So, as quickly as it came,
Yeah.
it was all washed away.
Find out what it takes to be a football player in the Big Ten. Go behind the scenes.
I don't really know if you want to go to Illinois to find that out,
Every
but
week on Illinois Football
No.
Journey, Tuesday.
what is it like to be 2-10 in the Big Ten? Although I'm pretty sure this was like shortly after they had like Juice Williams and Rashad Mendenhall.
Including the last yard
Oh,
for the
man.
touchdown.
Yeah.
And all of it on the ground.
Yeah, this is by far this, and then the year Ball State basketball beat Kansas during the Maui.
Yeah, which I still need to see if I can find those in the archives. I've been looking for those.
I mean, those got to be like the top 2 sports years for Ball State. I mean, okay, top 2 years I can remember, because I know they had made it to Sweet 16 and stuff like that before.
This kid's quick as a hiccup. Watch him take it and explode.
Quick as a hiccup.
5'6", 5'7".
Corey Sykes. I was like, he was in my head earlier when I was talking about running backs. I just couldn't remember his name.
Nice tackle there.
Yeah.
January 2007, and was redshirted for last season. So he's a redshirt freshman out of Harvey, Illinois. Take a look at the number of yards allowed in this ball game by IU so far. Good quick throw. Orsbon, who
Briggs Orsbon.
will latch on there for a gain of 6 to the 41. Richard Council now playing in place of the injured Christopher Phillips, who's out for the rest of the ball game with a knee injury. But Council was going to play a lot. The coaches told us he'd play a lot here tonight. And so he's going to play even more than they expected.
And I think
Now,
the challenge
I
for Indiana's defensive coordinators is that they're playing soft zone.
I want to skip
so you don't
ahead
want to man
a little
up
bit
against
here.
the receivers to protect their corners. Then you got to still get pressure in Nate Davis.
Sykes getting to the outside. No.
Ooh, stuffed.
Well played by Gino Johnson, the outside linebacker. Senior from Bartow, Florida.
Good job of just being relentless and fighting and keeping that motor going to the other side. And, you know,
It's 226.
about 155
So
pounds.
Indiana's defense finally gets a stop. And the by Fisher there, Chris.
Yeah.
I mean, you're at the 10-yard line. If it's going to go over your head, you let
So
it go.
there you
Take
go.
your chances.
That's what you're taught to do.
So punt down to like the 1-yard line.
So the Hoosiers.
See, that's what Ball State's known for. Punter you.
Magic here
Yeah.
from 97 yards away. Demetrius McRae gets him some working room out across the 10 to the 11-yard line on a gain of almost 9 yards. Renee Perry, the nose tackle. Derrick Henry, the free safety on the stop.
Well, if Thigpen's your burst guy, Peyton's your power guy, this kid, Demetrius McRae, is a little combination of both. Physically, he's about 205, 210 pounds, runs with toughness, but he also has the burst.
Two tight ends on the line for Indiana. Ooh, my goodness, he had that first down for a moment, and then
Yeah,
the Sam
this
linebacker,
defense.
the
I
middle
mean, you know,
linebacker,
all the
Kenny
talk
Meeks
kind of
came over
goes
to him.
to how good their offense was with Love and McQuail Lewis and Sykes and Orsbon and Nate Davis. Their defense was, you know, one of the best. I mean, that's what, I mean, was Brady Hoke's kind of namesake as being a defensive guy, so it made sense.
Indiana getting the play from the sidelines at the line of scrimmage, third down and short. tight ends in the game. Payton stumbled in the backfield over his own blocker, but able to recover to get the first down across the 15-yard line near the 18. So Brian Payton picks it up, and now let's see if Indiana tries to switch things up. Yep, they go for the 2 tight end look, spread the field.
What IU finish this
Back
season?
into the shotgun, spreads the
Yes,
field
right.
with 4 receivers. Everybody out for a pass.
Right there. There's your
Is
guy.
that Baker?
Yeah, it's Sean Baker.
I knew he had some kind of big play.
Dude, look at that speed, man. Sean Baker, touchdown maker.
Sean Baker. Well, last week
He reminds me of that middle linebacker. I think middle linebacker.
Yeah.
Oops. For Cowboys.
3 interceptions and a fumble
Yeah.
return to the house.
Oh, actually, they finished 3-9 this season.
Who? IU?
IU, yeah, I thought they were. They won. They beat Western Kentucky and Murray State to start the season. Then this actually kicked off 5 straight losses before then beating Northwestern on October 25th. Then they lost to Central Michigan, Wisconsin, Penn State, and Purdue. They lost 62-10 to Purdue. So I mean, Ball State, you can credit them with just ruining the entire season for IU.
Well, it seems like, after they both had big games, they sort of ran into some trouble.
Right. So 28-10 or 28-20 was what it would be at the half for Ball State. And then in the second half, Ball State would score 2 touchdowns and won 42-10.
Yeah.
And it, by far their biggest win over IU, and that kind of set the tone for what would be an undefeated season.
Right. And gave hope to, Ball State fans that maybe the following year or the year after. And yeah, we've had bumps and bruises, between then and now, but to know that we can get the players and people in there to beat some big schools.
Oh yeah, the success of this team really catapulted them to be good through a good chunk of my college days as well. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun to watch, and the beginning of a pretty solid era of Ball State football. So that'll do it for this week. So we'll see you next week. We're actually going to start watching the Big Ten championship games. So we're going to start with 2011. That was the first ever Big Ten football championship game. So we hope you'll join us, Russell Wilson and Kirk Cousins. So you won't want to miss it. But until then, have a good one.
See ya.